Alright, we're out here in the Beetle Barn, raining like heck. Yesterday I did a little blurb for my kid on park and brake handle. And anyway, after looking at the video, it didn't really show what I wanted it to, so I'm going to try this again here. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and do that. So this is what he's working on. Apparently he pulled it up too far and the button mechanism came out. And anyway, when you pull them up too far, that's usually because you need to adjust your rear brakes. When you put new brakes on, I'm going to adjust the parking brake. You know, it only goes up just a ways, maybe a quarter to half, at least that's the way I would do it. So when your brake lever's going up pretty high in an old Volkswagen, it's time to adjust the rear brakes. You shouldn't have to readjust the cables that are up here once you've done it with the new brake job, because when you adjust your brakes out, you're in the same relative position. So anyway, so what he's probably looking at now, well, actually, I'll go ahead and explain the parts. You got your pivot here, right here. And I'm going to take that pin out because it wants to fall out anyway, in my way. And then in the car, you have this piece, which actually, in relation, goes this way. Goes on that pivot there, but it's actually inside. And then this little ear here hooks in the floor pan. So when you pull it up, this stays down on the pan, and the rest of it, you know, raises up and down. And then you have this thing here on a little pivot pin that on one end has this round loop kind of looking thing, and then the other end has this little toothy thing. If we can get a good shot of that. Anyway, and this little tooth here is what hooks into the cogs in this gear to ratchet you into position and then lock it. So basically, what he's probably looking at in the car right now is with this thing hanging, with this little loop hanging down, and his handle's just going up and down. Anyway, so what we're going to do is try and figure out how to put that back. Put the button back in. So this will already be in there. Okay, so in the car, what he needs to do is bring, let's see, I'm going to put a relative mark here as far as the floor goes. See, if I knew what I was doing, I'd be better at it. That line there, okay, we'll call that the floor of the car, just for giggles. Anyway, this thing here is latched into the floor of the car. So when he brings the handle up as far as he can pull it, like that, this little round piece will be hanging down probably in about that position. So are we able to see what's going on here? Yeah, I guess so. There isn't a whole bunch of contrast here, but that's just the way it goes. So when he's got it up in the car in that position, whoa, where'd my floor go? There it is. In that position, let's see here, we go that way. There we go. Get this other crap out of the way. Brings it up as high as he can, and he's got this little loop here flopping. What he's going to want to do is basically put this button assembly here back in with that loop pointing upward. So you slide it back in with the loop pointing upward, go all the way down until your button is just starting to go in there. And you get to a point, what you need to do while if you got 6 hands, it's better. If you have a friend to help you out, it'd be nice. But anyway, you got to hold this thing up as high as you can hold it, and then you want to hold this perpendicular to this line on your handle, so it's like hanging straight down off the handle, not in the position it probably will be in the car. You want it perpendicular, and then you push your button down, and just after the button enters the housing there, a little bit more, you'll start to see where you touch that little guy here. If you hold that perpendicular, you can see it move. Maybe. Maybe I'll run down on that part a little bit. Let me zoom in. Okay. So you run your button in, you have this piece perpendicular, and then you run your button in, and you'll see it move. I went too far. There it goes. And that's almost halfway on your button is what you want. So when you move it in, you'll see it move that little guy. Alright, as soon as you go down and with this straight out and you touch it right there, then what you need to do is fashion yourself a right tool for the job. I just bent a piece of coat hanger around and put a little ball on the end of it so it fits up in there pretty good. And when you get to this point where you're just where you can touch that and make it move, you're going to have to, with the thing still up in the air, go ahead and you want to push this up in towards the front of the car, get your little hook and feed it right on up in there, and you'll feel it touch your button. And actually, as you're pushing up on it, you'll start to feel your button want to go in. So just keep pushing your button until you're all the way around, and hold your button in all the way. Now you can see down here, I'm on it. So at that point, holding your button as tight as you can, go ahead and lower the thing back in the car, down, and then once you're down into the gear part, you can go ahead and let go of your button, and you're back to the way it should be. I don't know if that made any sense. I'll widen it out. We'll do it one more time. Hopefully this will help you get your parking brake fixed. I don't know how the contrast is on this. I'll look at it later. I did another shot where I actually took this back out to the car and did it in the car, so I'll throw a couple of those bits on the end of this video. So anyway, what happened was you went all the way up, get the button in, and the button flew out. So you're back in that position. So you basically, remember this is the floor of the car, go ahead and what you'll be looking at probably, if I can do this, is this right here with this little loop hanging down. So basically you want to go ahead and, you know, I haven't tried this the other way. Let me try something here. Yeah, without the handle being all the way up, you cannot push that back up in. So you got to have the handle all the way up, and then you want this guy hanging perpendicular to this surface here. Take your button assembly with the loop upward, put it in there, slide it all the way in, and then till you're about halfway down the button, pretty close, and you'll see this little thing move. There, it just moved a tiny bit. So at that point, you go ahead and push it back up in. Remember, you're still holding up in the car. Push it back up in. Keep holding the button in that position, and then get your little coat hanger tool. Push it right on up in there, and then just as you're pushing it up in, once you feel it start to pull the button inward, go ahead and just continue following with the button. Push it in. And once you're all the way pushed down on your button, you need to go ahead and lower the handle on the car, and then you're back in. And that's all there is to it. And then the next time, don't pull it up so far. Get your brakes adjusted. That's what you need to do. So anyway, we'll see how that worked. The rain quit. It's quiet. That's why I'm talking so loud. Anyway, here we go. So I'm going to throw up the video part from yesterday where I actually went out to the car and did this. And I was successful at it a couple times. And I think you can do it. Patience. And if you have a friend to help, I suggest it. But don't forget about your little tool here to pull that thing up in there. You need something to get up in there, and remember, you got the floor of the car in the way, so you kind of need a hook. Worked pretty good. And I can do the same deal here on the old one out of the 57, and it works the same way. Same deal. It's just a longer handle, a little bit different cable deal, and a little bit stouter metal. And also the 57 has a Hella logo on it. I didn't realize Hella made these assemblies, but they did. So put the loop up, put it on down in there, just until you see the little thing move there. Right here, you can actually feel it on your fingertip. And once you get it to move, go ahead and push that up in, keeping the button in the same relative position. Push that little thing right on up in there, and it'll actually pull the button. Just continue right on around, and then lower it down in the car, and you're back in business. So anyway, hope that helps. Okay, for the sake of doing this, I went ahead and let me get those heater things out of the way. Went ahead and took the seat out of the car. Maybe you can see better here how all this works. Down inside the hole there, this little guy, it's kind of a chore to put in here, but we can do it. I actually haven't put this back in, so I'm not 100% sure on how it's going to work. Anyway, so it slides down in. The little hook here hooks on the inside of the tunnel there. That's what you're working against later. So get that thing down in and hooked. I think we're hooked, aren't we? I don't want to drop that little piece down in the tunnel. That would suck. Then I'd have to go fishing with a magnet. So I got to get it in the right position. There we go. Now it's hooked in the tunnel. I'll go ahead and shove that pin back in if I brought it with me. I think I brought it with me. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, there it is. Shove that pin back in there. That pivot. Alright. Okay, so the pivot's in. Alright, now you can see it only comes up so far, and if you got cables on it, you're fighting those as well. So we're going to try to do this project here. You could do this with the seat in. I'm just doing it this way to see if I can do it. Anyway, let me get that back out of there. So here's what you got. Got that guy. Then this thing here, oh, interesting. I got to take it back apart because I put it in the wrong way. Since you haven't had it out of the car, you shouldn't have this particular problem. But I do, so there we go. Get that run all the way around. There we go. And then pivot back. Okay. Alright, no rehearsal here. Okay, so anyway, so you're in the car and this is what you're dealing with right now, except you have cables attached across here on that little plate. This car, one of the cables was broken. Here's that little plate that I'm talking about with your adjusters through. Your cable's got a lock nut on them, and then another nut that's got like a taper in it that fits down in the little tapered holes here. So if you have to loosen the adjustment on these, take a measurement of what you got so you can put them back where they were, because that's the correct way in your particular car. When your brakes are adjusted properly, that's where you want it. So anyway, but you need a couple, looks like 10 millimeter. Hold the bottom one and break the lock nut loose, back it up out of the way, and then it's got a slot in the end of the cable for a little screwdriver to go in and hold it while you back the other nut back up out of the way. And you shouldn't have to go more than a couple turns to get a little bit of extra if you need it. But anyway, you probably don't need it since it fell apart with the cables attached. Anyway, that's a little bit of a side note there. Get that back out of the way. Hopefully we can see this process here. Maybe I'll put the heater cable out of the way so you can see. Well, I don't make it any better. Just taking those things out of there anyway. One of these days this car is going to go away. It's a 71 standard. Anyway, there's somebody who's interested, and they're going to come get it someday. So we got the springy thing, and you want the curve upward. So we'll go ahead and run that down in the deal here. We're going to go ahead and pull the thing up as far as we can go, and we'll run it down in there. Maybe. Maybe we won't. Oh, sideways. Okay. Curve upward. Run it down in. Just past the end of the button. And oh, yeah. Run it down in. Maybe hold on to this guy. Keep it perpendicular to this surface here. Run the button down in and you'll feel it touch. You can feel it touch. So that's about where you want to stop the button. When you're touching and you've got that about perpendicular to that other surface. Grab your coat hanger. Get this thing up in there, start it. Grab your coat hanger, get on the end of that guy and push it up in. And as you push it up in, you'll actually feel the button kind of want to pull a little bit. So as that happens, go ahead and push the button at the same time. Pull up on the handle. Now I've got it into the point where the handle's holding it, and you see here I can't quite clear the top of this guy. So you got to pull it real hard and push the button, and then it went by. Then go ahead and let her down. Now I'm back where I was. And the button works. So you go all the way down. You're back in business here. Just don't pull up too hard on your handle. If you have to, if you can't get by that guy, see right here I'm up as high as I can go and it won't go by. But if I push downward on these gear things here while I'm pushing the button, hold them down, I still can't get by. Well, let's see how we do this. What the hell? Oh, it's cattywampus, that's why. There we go. Well, there you are. See, I'm just at the wit's end there of coming out, and I can't quite get all the way out of there doing it that way. Anyway, we're back in, and that's what we got. So hopefully that was helpful. I think we're going to do another take on this just to do it. I'm seeing a few things here. This piece here is slightly bowed probably, which allows this little gear to flop off to one side of this guy. Everything's just worn, it's old. Just trying to think of an easier way for you to get that in, but you really don't want to bend things to do it. There it went. So that could have also been what happened to your thing if your brakes aren't too far out of adjustment, as you just went up and at an angle sideways and the thing slipped off the side. Anyhow, because you can see here I'm off to the side where that won't even go back down in. So we're gonna do this one more time, one more take, just because we can. Fully extend it up. Got your loop upward. Bring this down perpendicular. Then run that button down in just until you can feel it touch, and it holds that perpendicular. Get a hold of your coat hanger, and then run that up in. Push it on up with your coat hanger, and you'll feel it almost want to pull that pedal or that button. Maybe. There we go. Get your coat hanger out, and you should have a hold of that now. Pull up as hard as you can, or pull up hard to get past the end there. And then if it won't go back down at this point, then you're off to the side there. It's a pretty tight fit, so keep pulling up on it. See here, I'm on the shoulder on the far side there. So just keep holding your button there. Lift up, pull your gear towards you or whatever direction you have to get it centered again. And then you should be good to go. Anyway, that's that. Volkswagen park and brake assembly, back where it belongs. Anyway, hopefully that helps you out. Thanks for watching.